Good morning, this is Mr. Carpenter, principal at Lakewood Elementary School. I'm going to attempt to go through, on video, a typical day at Lakewood Elementary starting August 24th, 2020. There are many different processes and procedures, and I know folks have many questions about what school might look like. I hope this video serves as a means for you to get a snapshot into what the school day will truly look like. So this will be the process for when students are dropped off by their parents in the morning. The parking lot has been totally revamped and there are entrance and exits at both ends. The main entrance off Washington Street is the location that will be used to bring your child to school and drop them off at the front main entrance of Lakewood Elementary. If there are overflow or cars are backed up, we ask that you use the south parking lot and loop around the parking lot as demonstrated by the drone in the video, and then come back through the circle drive up front to drop off your child, and then pull out the very front entrance. Students will then enter this door, and their temperature will be checked by another staff member before entering the building. So if you're bringing your child to school late, you'll enter through the main doors. You will push this button right here, and the secretaries in the office will ask you, what you need to do, and you'll say, I need to sign my kid in. When you need to do that, we're going to ask that you walk into the foyer right here. All of our sign out items are right here for you to sign your child in or out. And then we will have the child walk into the office and we will take their temperature. If you're signing your child out, we ask that you call ahead. We will have the child ready for you. Upon pulling up, the child will meet you here in the foyer, and you will sign your child out right here. In the afternoon, when buses arrive and parents come to pick up their kids, a similar process will be used with a similar travel route through the main entrance off Washington Street. Folks will come in, they will turn right, they will circle around the south parking lot and come to the front main entrance. All children to be picked up will be located in the gymnasium with Lakewood Elementary staff, and there will be folks outside ready to radio in to the folks inside to have your child come out to the front to load up in your car. We are continuing to work on the process for identification, and we are strongly recommending a number system that we will provide to you. So when you pull up to the front doors, you will flash a number and we will send that child out. In the beginning, prior to being able to get those numbers out to parents and to coordinate those efforts, we ask that you pull up, state your child's name and your child's teacher's name, and be ready to present identification upon request. Buses will enter Lakewood Elementary parking lot and will be completely separate from all parent traffic. Buses will drop off students, and students of different grade levels will enter different entrances throughout the building. First graders will follow the sidewalk around the north end of the building and enter in the first grade hallway at the north entrance. Second graders will walk directly into the building from the bus drop-off, the old main entrance of the Old West Elementary, which is located in the center of our building. Again, the main entrance will be used for parent drop-off only. Third grade students will walk down the sidewalk and they will enter the door on the south end of the building by the third grade hallway. Fourth grade students will circle around the south end of the building into the back of the building and enter in the fourth grade hallway. This will happen every day when buses drop off children, again, to try to attempt to keep students in pods in grade levels in their own locations without crossing as much as possible. So I want to talk just a minute about what it's going to look like once a child is seated in their classroom. We've asked that students wear masks in every area of the building at all times, except for when they are seated at their desk in their own classrooms. So here's an example of a classroom. Desks are apart as much as we possibly can, having 26 students in a classroom on average. Obviously cleaning schedules are developed, hand washing schedules are developed for students, and will be followed and charted. And so all those protocols are in place inside the classroom. If a student gets up to move around the classroom, we're going to ask them to put their mask on. Students will have lanyards. Every student has been ordered a lanyard to hook their mask to, so that mask will stay with them all day, so we don't have to worry about them losing them or dropping them or things like that, at least the best we can. So just want to give you a snapshot of what a classroom will look like in the elementary school. I would like to talk briefly about recess. There have been lots of questions about recess, what recess might look like. We have 2 playgrounds at Lakewood Elementary, and students will be dispersed around those playgrounds. Again, class pods will be kept together in certain locations of these 2 playgrounds, and that rotation will occur on a weekly basis. For example, if Class A is on the pavement by the basketball courts on day 1, they will move to a different location on day 2, and so on. The idea, once again, is to keep children in pods and away from contact with children in other classes. A more detailed description of recess procedures will be sent out at the beginning of the school year. So here we are in one of our computer labs, and I want to talk a minute about specials. Specials will continue as usual with some safety protocols that have been put in place before and after the next group of kids will arrive. Specials teachers will go to classrooms and get students and transport them in the hallway at a time where other students are not present in the hallway. Students will be masked at all times in common areas, including the technology labs, art room, and other common areas in the building, obviously except for lunch when they're eating, and we'll get to that here in just a minute. Students will enter. They will have a technology 50-minute period. The lab will be cleaned afterwards, so the next group of students will have a clean lab to come to. Okay, so here we are in the cafeteria lunchroom. Students will come down 1 class at a time. They will enter the lunchroom area. As you can see, there's already glass corridors around everything in the lunchroom. Lunchroom staff is already very prepared with protocols for safety. It have been for a very long time, so we're in good shape here. Students will come. They'll enter 1 class at a time. They will check out. And they will come into the cafeteria where we have classrooms sitting together in pods and tables that are spaced 8 to 10 feet apart. And there will be staff here to ensure that students stay with their pods. So upon departure, they'll be dismissed 1 group at a time, so they do not come in contact with students from other classrooms. So as you can see in the cafeteria here, this will be adjusted a little bit as well. The tables are a fair distance apart to avoid contact with students from another class. So we've made some changes to the breakfast protocol this year. So instead of students lining up in a large line down the hallway to go through the cafeteria to pick up their breakfast, we're actually going to bring breakfast to classrooms. It will be a grab-and-go option that students will have to indicate the day before whether or not they choose that option for breakfast in the morning. There'll be individual bags for students. They'll be delivered to classrooms, and students will be able to go directly to their classroom and get their breakfast. So here we are in the gymnasium to talk briefly about physical education class. Students will still receive physical education class every week. Most of the time, weather permitting, physical education will be outside. As you can see, there's plenty of room in here to social distance if the need arises for us to be inside. Ms. Trigina and Mrs. Erickson will be hosting these classes outside, and the items that are used during those classes will be cleaned in between classes as they are in Fine Arts and Technology. Okay, so here we are in the Media Center. Students will still have library as scheduled normally, and the library, however, will go to their classrooms. So we have a process. Mrs. Blackmere and I have been working on a process to take books to kids and allow them to sign them out, and also have a process for quarantining those books when they return into an area for cleaning before they're put back on the shelves. In an attempt to streamline questions, frequently asked questions, we have posted on our webpage and on our Facebook page a FNQ questionnaire that there's a link on both of those things. It is also included in the schematic that we shared out yesterday of what the day may look like with arrival times, dismissal times, recess, etc., as highlighted in this video. If you have questions and you want answers to them, please go to that link, type in your question, and it'll be there for everybody to see so we can answer questions as quickly as possible, as many folks will have the same questions about what school might look like or the processes that are put in place. So in closing, I want to thank everybody in advance for their patience. There's been a lot of thought and conversation going into best practices following the guidelines established by the governor's executive order on how we can best keep kids safe at school. There is no perfect method. There is no perfect way. We will do our best within those guidelines to establish protocols to ensure the safety of all children. Understand that these documents and these processes may become fluid. At some point in the first couple weeks of school, we may decide that things need to change, and we will communicate that out to you as soon as we know. I think everybody understands at this point in the epidemic, there are so many unknowns and so much uncertainty. We will continue to move forward, to listen to concerns, and to troubleshoot to try to establish the safest environment possible for our students. Again, I thank you in advance for your patience, and let's make sure that we offer each other grace as we go through this difficult time. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you August 24th.